Hey guys, so it's finally come, my review for Death's End by Cixin Liu. This is the final book in this trilogy, and easily the best of the three, though I did love the others too. I've already reviewed both that came before this one on this channel, The Three Body Problem and The Dark Forest, and I highly suggest you check those videos out if you have not already. This will be spoiler-free on Death's End for all those who've read the first two books, though if you've never read the others, I very highly suggest not watching this and coming back to watch when you have. It's impossible not to spoil what's happened so far before this one in the trilogy. So we've deferred the Dark Forest, at least as far as the Trisolarans are concerned. We begin where we left off, but with new understanding. Much like the Wallfacer project that we follow in Book 2, this one introduces another plan to save humanity that's not quite up to par with what's needed, but it's one of our only options before Dark Forest Deterrence is discovered. We're introduced around the time that the Trisolarans first head off from their planet towards us, to a fairly young aerospace engineer called Cixin, founder of the Staircase Project. What she lacks in experience, she makes up for in innovation, wit, and general brilliance. She comes up with a solution on how to reach near light speed, which in this case could only be used to transport something with a very low weight, and what she wants to send is a single human being towards the Trisolarans. It's a long shot, but she's found the perfect person for it. And then skip back forward to the stalemate that is Dark Forest Deterrence. Luoji, who's discovered this in the last book, is now the sword holder. Both civilizations, human and Trisolaran, are dependent upon him and his decision-making. They are literally at his will, forced to back off from one another, as any further conflict will give Luoji no choice but to act and ensure the destruction of both worlds. Cixin, founder of the Staircase Project, who's been frozen in hibernation for many years, awakens in time for Luoji, who is now too old to be sword holder, to pass his position and responsibilities onto someone else, a situation that is made all the more fragile by the Trisolaran's image within human society now. The alien civilization has learned more and more how to appreciate life and living, and are now making art, films, paintings, books, and music, which have all become supremely popular on Earth. So with the passing of Luoji's responsibility, there's a new sensibility needed, presumably, in how to approach the sword holder position. But there's no telling what will happen at that changing of the guard, so to speak. How will the Trisolarans react when Luoji is no longer the one holding a knife to their throats, but someone else? Is that knife needed now that so much culture has been exchanged between the two? It's a delicate balance, and the decisions made on it will affect the future of both civilizations. We also learn early on that the two ships who survived the Trisolaran droplet attack in the second book, Bronze Age and Blue Space, are headed back home now that the Trisolarans have been deterred. But when Bronze Age, being closer than the other ship, reaches home and are treated to a not-so-warm welcome, Blue Space continues on away from Earth, while another ship called Gravity approaches at its tail to apprehend those on board. Blue Space, like Luoji, has the ability to transmit a dark forest strike against Earth and Trisolaris, so both humans and Trisolarans, aim to reach the ship before they're too far gone. We follow those on that ship as they discover some interesting things about the nature of the universe and those that have come before us. This whole trilogy is a story that just shows how unprepared and inadequate we would be in a situation like this. The ever-looming possibility of the end to everything we know, the possible end of Dark Forest Deterrence, and the possibility of a Dark Forest strike from a civilization more powerful, more intelligent, and more technologically advanced than we can comprehend. It's about what lies behind the universe and our limited perception of it, within the three-dimensional existence that we're seemingly bound to. It, like all great science fiction in my opinion, shows simultaneously the importance of individual people, of the human race as a whole, but also the undeniable smallness of our understanding and the unimaginable vastness of the universe. It's a story whose scale is insane in terms of scope, depth of thought, time, and ideas. So much of this book I can't even describe to you because I need you to go and experience it for yourself. It's immense, it's full to bursting, and in many ways it's both beautiful and terrifying. What happens throughout this is a series of challenges to all of humanity as we know it. We switch from situation to situation, spanning so many years in this one book alone, and it is always captivating to go from one thing to the next. It seems that Cixin Liu constantly writes himself into unsolvable situations and then finds new and exciting ways that always to me seem perfectly scientifically probable, because he explains them in great detail, to get out of these circumstances and move the story forward in new, unpredictable ways. You literally never know what's going to happen next in this, and it's invigorating. Not only that, but I think the writing is fantastic at times. The imagery is full and breathtaking, and gave me a sense of wonder for whatever's being described. I can't tell you how many times I said, whoa, while reading this, because the words with which Cixin Liu and Ken Liu as translator use to illustrate these things are so spot on. And this is also definitely the strongest book in regards to character. We meet many new characters in this, all of which feel more driven, more real, and just more focused than characters from the first two. You come to really care for the main character, Cixin, and those around her throughout the book. And though she makes some questionable decisions, frustrating to say the least, she's got a distinct personality, and those decisions really reflect that. Her story is more compelling individually than the other main characters so far, because there's a more natural human aspect added to her story. That, within the mix of this sci-fi epic, makes this book even better for me. Overall, I love this. This is hard SF at its hardest. It's crazy, it's huge, it's full of ideas, and it's genuinely emotional with the weight of all humanity behind it. It pushed me to think and to feel, and filled my head with ideas, challenges, and images that I never could have imagined otherwise. This is partly Cixin Liu's answer to the Fermi paradox, and though it's entirely pessimistic at its surface, it took me to new places and actually filled me with a weird optimism that I felt was at the heart of it. I talked about this trilogy in my top 5 favorite SFF books of 2016 video, as this is not only one of my favorite reads of this last year, but of all time. I cannot recommend this last book more highly, and I urge you to continue on to it if you have not already. If you have read this whole trilogy, or if I've convinced you to finish it, I'd love to hear about that. Let me know all of your thoughts on any of the books, as I want to hear what you've got to say. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later with more.